stardust.
Dear Stardust.
Dear stardust.
Dear Stardust.
Dear Stardust.
Dear stardust.
Dear Stardust, a letter to the future. What lies in the infinite realm of the unknown, of possibilities, the part of all of our lives that's yet to come? It holds our dreams and our demise, and so many beautiful memories we're yet to make, moments of joy and fun. Sunsets will continue to paint the sky. There'll be long summer days, falling leaves, and fresh winter air. A constant evolution of life. What chapter will we write next? What incredible advances will we share? And at what cost? Will there be more suffering, more pain, more grief perpetrated by us? War, aggression, oppression. We have the power to change. We're on the cusp. It can feel overwhelming, unstoppable. How do we reconcile such evil? How do we protect every child from the harm others will inflict? We will never give up, because humans are also capable of such good. It's part of our collective conscience, our gift. There's power in connection, in kindness. We can heal, we can grow, because hope and love are stronger than fear. We have the strength to better ourselves, to make good choices for the people we love, to cherish and care for those we hold dear. We are all capable of greatness. There's a shared wisdom, a light in the dark that we can all find. What we teach our children and what they teach their children, that is the future of humankind. So, to my child, the biggest love of my life, here are my hopes for you, my darling. Find and hold on to all the things that bring you joy, true love, happiness, belonging. Find your tribe, the people who share a kindred spirit, a vitality, a special bond. Don't be afraid to give things a go. Make mistakes. Live life to the full. You can't go wrong. Remember your inner strength, the love that runs through your veins. No one can take that away. Don't even let them try. You'll face challenges, and that's okay. You'll also learn how to overcome them, to stand for what you believe in and hold your head high. Life is full of magic. It can be found in small moments, in simple pleasures. So don't waste energy sweating the small stuff. It's okay to be different, to do life your way. You are loved. Don't forget to love yourself. And remember, you are enough. That's quite emotional.
Candice Prosser, thank you so much for sharing your letter to Dear Stardust.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me to do it and prompting the question. It's been for me, quite an emotional journey, quite a deep question to think of the future. And for me, it has to come back to my daughter and what the future is for her.
When I hear about things like the sunsets, the memories made that you sort of start the letter with, it gives me a sense of an optimism that's almost a replication of your favorite things of the present. Do you have a sense of worry of losing what you value most today?
Very astute. Yes, definitely. I'm working really hard at the moment on just trying to be appreciative of this time that we have, being a mum with a young child and just trying to just find the joy in all of that rather than get caught up in, the chaos of life and, you know, all the things that we deal with, all the things in the world that can, you know, weigh you down. And I do worry for my daughter that at some point in her life, the weight of the world will feel heavy for her as well. And so I think on this journey that I'm on, learning how to deal with that, I'm able to hopefully give her the tools to do that and to, you know, find those moments where you can just be truly happy with simple things like sunsets, like being with people you love, and just kind of lifting that veil of worry even momentarily.
When you first sort of directly orientate the letter towards your daughter, your voice changed a little. It warmed in a way. It sort of warmed even more than it already is. I wonder, do you speak to yourself the way that you speak to your daughter? In that sense of wanting to be loved, that things are going to be okay, you're enough? Are these words and tones that you use to yourself?
No. That's such an amazing question. I don't. And I probably should, because it's the kind of voice that I want my daughter to have for herself. Yeah. Wow, that's a really interesting question. I think we all have that self-critical voice in our heads, and I'm realizing that for so many years I've been a perfectionist. I've, you know, had times of being caught in that cycle of being a workaholic and all those types of things. And yeah, that question's quite interesting because, yeah, I don't think, and I'm probably not alone in this, I don't think I speak to myself with the same compassion that I speak to my daughter.
And so often the thing that we want our young people to do is to speak to themselves, and we don't always. It's very hard to model it because it's an internal process. But I certainly kind of have caught myself before, you know, saying things inside that I would never say outside, and then thinking, oh gosh, these little ones, do they pick up on it? You know, so many things, so much of what goes on in their life is unsaid and unspoken and unseen.
Absolutely, because they're so, what they pick up that in the nonverbal cues is almost more important than what we're saying. And I think children more than anyone else are really attuned to that, like intuition. It's something that I'm also learning about, and I'm hoping that, the vibe that I can give off, which I'm hoping is now changing, is something that will help my daughter and, you know, help myself as well.
Yeah, and ultimately, as you express a letter to the future, it helps beyond that. You know, yours is obviously very, it is very much orientated towards your daughter and her future, but we also know the impact of powerful young people and powerful people in general in the world. And if we can get a generation who are compassionate, kind, caring, loved, have belonging, connection, then some of those elements that you're worried about losing won't be lost, and some of those more stark pieces, and you mentioned war and suffering, they will lose their power and hopefully lose their influence and hopefully become significantly less common.
Yeah, here's hoping.
You spoke to your daughter about finding her tribe, and you chose words so beautifully in your letter. And tribe was one of those ones that just, it's to be tribal, or tribalism is almost weaponized now. And if someone was to say, you know, that group of people is almost tribal, I think our pictures go to sort of quite a vitriolic political piece now, but we want your little girl to find her tribe. Can you kind of talk us through that word tribe and what it means to you and what you hope for it?
Yeah. I guess to me, tribe is like, you find the people who really get you and that you can feel comfortable with and just be yourself and have the freedom to, you know, really connect with people without all the pretense or the, I should be more this or I should be more that. And I know, especially with, I think, well, it's true for all children, but I know with my experience growing up as well, that girls have a lot of pressure in terms of how they look, how they act, all these kinds of things. And I suppose if you find your tribe or you're struggling at school with, bullying or kids that are just picking on you or you're feeling insecure, often it's when you find your tribe. It could be outside of school through sport. It could be at university. It could be like, the wonderful nerdy kids in the library all like doing the same project. Once you find the people that you connect with or click with, I know click is another bad word, but in that sense where you just find the people that make you happy and you can be yourself. And I just really want that for her, that, if you're not always going to connect with people or they're not always going to understand you, and that's okay. Find the people who do.
Have you found your tribe?
Yeah. Yes.
Have you always had them, or has it been a long time?
No, I don't think growing up I probably had one or two friends that, were special and I still keep in contact with. But I think it wasn't until university that I started to find my tribe. And then, yeah, that made such a difference. It was lovely.
And how did you come to find them? I think of my wife's friendship group at university all have last names that start with the same letter because they were grouped together in the first task, and then so all the A's work together. But how did you find your tribe at university?
I think honestly, it just happened so organically. We just kind of were all studying journalism out at McGill, and just sort of came together. And I found a lot of we call ourselves the uni girls, and we still catch up. And yeah, we're just people that I just really loved their energy and um, their friendliness. A couple of them are kids who'd come from the country and were boarding in Adelaide while they studied, and I just absolutely lovely people. And they're still really important parts of my life. One of them lives in the UK, and we still maintain a really close friendship. And we've all branched out with our careers since then. But yeah, it was just really nice to find each other.
One of the things that I think strengthens that sense of tribe and connection and belonging is going through adversities and hardships and sort of getting through them together. And if I think of connecting some of the challenges that you'd have gone through with the uni girls, but then also thinking about your daughter, and so often we don't want them to experience the negatives, but isn't that sort of where maybe the deepest connections are formed?
It's so true. And honestly, it's this constant battle with myself because my instinct as a mother is just to, you want to I want to wrap her in, cotton wool and keep her safe and protect her from discomfort and harm and, upsetting feelings. But actually, what I've been learning is that, that's really important. That is how we build resilience. And as long as she knows that she is supported and loved and can talk to us about anything and we'll help her and support her, then, she can face these challenges. And I think that's a journey that I've been on as a mum, and having all these just, yeah, overwhelming emotions. I think when you become a parent, as you'd know, everything just enters another level in terms of, the stakes are raised. It's, this your child or your children are just, more important than yourself now. And that's terrifying. To love someone that much is actually terrifying.
It really is. And I have to remind myself quite often that there's literally billions of children at different times, and that people make a lot of mistakes, and a lot of people, vast majority of people turn out just fine. And the pressure that I sort of heap on myself, I think is definitely pressure that I'm hearing
Yeah.
what you're putting on yourself as well.
And I think that's part of the perfectionist tendencies, which a lot of professionals have. It helps us succeed. But when you start to try and apply that to parenting, it just no, it's not going to work. So yeah, and I really like, there's a podcast that Maggie Dent has done called Parental as Anything, and I love her books as well. And she talks about the good enough parent, and I really like that.
Yeah, and one of the lines that you write to Stardust is, well, indeed, to your daughter, is that you're enough. When in the future are you writing to?
It's funny when I spent a couple of days just really pondering this when you asked the question, because there's so many different directions that you can go with it. And, all these things were swirling around my mind, like, do we go really far into the future, and what does that look like? If you look at the advances over the last century or two, it's just mind boggling. And I feel like we're on that same trajectory with AI and things like that, and then there's also the sustainability aspect, and what the earth, what's going to become of our planet and population as a human race. Just so many of those big deep questions. But once I actually started the process of writing, I just found I couldn't, and when all that emotion was being channeled through this poem, I just couldn't go past my daughter and her future, because ultimately for me, that's the most important thing. So I couldn't sort of go further beyond that in a real sense, because the immediate and what her life is going to be, and I hope it's going to be a long, fulfilling, happy life. Um, that was where all my energy and emotion was channeled. It just kind of happened that way.
And what's your next adventure, next thing that you're thinking? Because this letter is to a very tangible future. So what do you think's next for Candice?
I don't know. I think um, I'd love to. I actually really have loved dabbling in poetry writing, and I found that since I've used it at various stages in my life, but in the last couple of years, with all the big feelings that we have becoming parents, I found that it's been a really nice way, really cathartic way, just to express my feelings. It's a really free way to it's a freeing way to write. And so I'd love to, yeah, do a few little more creative projects and that kind of thing. Even just for myself. It's just something that, yeah, is really nice.
I have absolutely loved hearing your letter. It's a letter for us. It's a letter for your daughter. Ultimately, it's a letter for yourself. And I'm just so pleased that you have shared it with us. So thank you so much, Candice Prosser.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the process of writing it. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us in this final episode of Dear Stardust before I take a little break over summer. Next year, I'll bring you all the episodes recorded from the ACEL National Conference. Today, we heard from exceptional ABC journalist Candice Prosser, who is the first of our guests from outside of the world of education, and you'll hear more letters to the future from diverse voices just like this in 2026. Still to come this year are our final stories of a year of principalship on Batelando, as well as a very special series that invites you into a network of principals in the Lutheran sector and tells the story of how they've really brought their network to life.